Okay, so for this video, we are going to look at this competition called FRSIS, Fully Residential School International Symposium, and we are focusing on the writing the abstract part. Okay, so let's quickly go into it. Okay, so for this writing the abstract, so to contextualize what we are doing today, the context that I'm using is STEM education among rural students in Malaysia. So the examples that I'm going to draw upon today will be based on this topic, STEM education among rural students in Malaysia. So let's quickly get into it. So an abstract has essentially 5 to 6 things. So the first one, you just want to describe the background briefly. Then you want to give the statement of problem, the objective of your research, the methodologies that you're using, the outcome of your research, the potential outcome. Usually people write the abstract last. In some situations you can write the abstract first because the abstract will somehow look like a proposal. So you might be using the future tense, like this research will show or will highlight blah blah blah, and also the summary of the findings. Okay, so we're going to look at it one by one. And again, our topic that we're using is STEM education in rural Malaysia, right? And rural schools in Malaysia. So this is what we're looking at. This is our research. Okay, so what is already known about the topic? So when you describe the background briefly, so first you want to know what has already people have been talking about, right? So probably your first sentence will be something. Of course, you need to understand that this video is not like is the you must you this is just a one way for you to do the abstract. There are many different ways, and it really, and I'm sure other coaches or other mentors or other teachers will have different ways. I'm just showing you one of the many ways that can be applied. Okay, so first you want to know what is already known about the topic. So you could just start off by saying like in recent years, you can even if you can specify the number of years, like in the recent from the years 99, from the years 2006 to 2000 to present day, there's been a steady decline of STEM education among rural students. Okay, so let's start first. Okay, in recent years, uh, there has been a gradual decline of rural students enrolling in STEM education after their form 3. So you can see here that I'm being very specific. Okay, so what is currently happening? So this basically 1 and 2 is very connected. And why is this an interesting phenomena that requires you to research? Okay, so maybe you can write another sentence. So in recent years, there has been a gradual decline of rural students enrolling in STEM education after their form 3. So why is this interesting? So maybe you want to go for some, again, like I'm writing something here very simple. Of course, when you have done your research, when you have done your review, your literature review, when you have read more articles, you can write something much more solid. Okay, like right now, this is, I'm doing this very random. So yeah, it's not as clear, or it's not as beautiful, or it is not as in depth as you would want a research abstract to be. This is something very very simple. Okay, so in recent years there has been a gradual decline of rural students enrolling in STEM education after their form 3. This is likely because because of various reasons, such as, so you can just like lack of job opportunities, and the, again, you're just making like a assumption here. Okay, and the level of difficulties of STEM components. Okay, right, so again, this is something very simple. So we'll move on now with the statement of the problem. So what is the missing gap in your previous research, and what is the central problem your research is trying to address? Okay, so thus this research attempts to understand this growing this growing issue that challenges the development of, okay, my handwriting so bad, but again, I'm just trying to make this as fast as I can, and I just want you to see um, how you're going to write this. Okay, thus this research attempts to understand the growing issue that can that challenges, that challenges the development of Malaysia. So again, this again very superficial on the surface. You want to be deeper. So thus this research attempt to understand this growing issue in relation to STEM education that challenges Malaysia's position in the knowledge economy, for example. Okay, because STEM education somehow relates to knowledge economy, right? So that is the big highlight nowadays. So again, you can do something like that. So now you're talking about the goal of your research, okay? And why is it important to address these questions as highlighted in your statement of problem? Okay, so this one will be something like straightforward. This research aims to explore. So what are you exploring, right? The maybe you're looking at the challenges faced by STEM students in Malaysia. Oh, this so this is kind of wrong, right? Because you're not researching this. You're looking at the low the reason why students don't want to take STEM. So probably not this. So this research aims to explore. You're going to change this a bit. This research aims to explore the low uptake of STEM education. So this research aims to explore the low uptake of STEM education uh, among rural students. And where is this happening? In Malaysia. You're looking specifically at Malaysia. If you want to look at a specific place, say like Terengganu, you can just write Terengganu. Okay, right. So that is basically the objective of your research. You want to explore why is there a low uptake of STEM education among rural students. So you're not looking at urban, you're not looking at SBP students, you're looking at rural students. So you need to find for rural schools to look into this research. Okay. So next, brief methodology. Okay, so in here, you're actually looking at what are the methods you're using. Okay, so most students will go for document analysis. Basically, document analysis is you're looking at newspaper articles, you're looking at reports. Okay, so anything that is in paper format, that's in a document format, you're looking at the documents and you're analyzing. So you're analyzing the trends of maybe you look at the school's report, the school's exam reports, right? And then you can see like over the years, students are not like the number of students taking STEM is slowly reducing, right? So that is the evidence of what you're saying. Okay, and then you can do interviews. Okay, for example, you can interview teachers, you can interview the principal, you can interview the administrators. Okay, STEM teachers. Focus group is when you have like 3 or 4 people in a group and you interview them. So this one is when you interview a group of people, like a group of students or a group of teachers. You want to bring them together, interview them, ask them, and then you get some understanding of the topic. And then you have observations. Observations is basically like you observe something. So mostly students will do classroom observations. So you go to the classroom, you sit down at the back or somewhere and you're observing what is happening in the STEM classroom. You also can do surveys. Surveys nowadays, students use Google Form. You can use Survey Monkey. There's many apps out there that you can use. And also next is sampling. So who are your samples? Who are the participants? So in this case, STEM education among rural communities, obviously it's going to be teachers and obviously it's going to be students, right? And then also you got the school leadership, like the pengetua, the principal, and so on. Okay. So again, so once you already know the sample, it'll be easier for you to decide what methods you want to use. Then what are the conclusions of your research? So what is it? What are the potential implications that your research is going to do? Okay, so for example, this research will be able to highlight the reasons why uh, rural communities are not interested in STEM, right? So you'll be able to identify the specific reasons, okay, why students are not interested in STEM, and then from there you can even also propose this research. Then proposes what you want to propose suggestions on how STEM education can be on how to increase the number of students so students here in STEM education, okay, right? So you can do something like this. And finally, the summary of your findings. Okay, basically one line or two lines, you just summarize what your finding is addressing, okay, and what is it showing, and probably that will be good enough for your abstract. Again, what we are doing here right now is something very fast and something very quick, and I'm not going in depth for each component, but this sort of gives you an idea on how you can write your entire abstract. So again, so this is another slide which we will not be looking at today, but since we're already here, the research design, most students will go for a qualitative design, which is subjective, and here is where you're establishing answers to the whys and hows of the research, okay. So okay, going back here, I think the hardest part for you writing the abstract would be trying to get the statement of problem, because once you get your statement of problem, it's only then you'll be able to do the methodology and the outcomes, right? Up until then, it's be a little bit hard for you to like truly understand. And also, once you have your statement of problem, I would always suggest students to look at the sample first. Okay, who's your sampling? Who are you actually looking at? Because then it really gives you a better idea on how you can write your um, abstract. Okay, I think that's it for now. Wish you the best in your